not sure I believe that.
Oh.
Well, you want to stay with salaries? Our friend Marion Rarick over at the Capitol, a legislative representative, is doing some
I'm
Cracker
not lying,
Jack.
Joe.
Huh?
I'm not lying.
Okay, that's
I
fine.
didn't make it up.
I think he just gave you one of these there, Soul Man.
Yeah, I think he
Okay, Kenny.
He just pushed me off the bridge into the
How fast was that bridge built, though?
Okay, Kenny. This is what we found
Kenny.
about some of the salaries at the University of Minnesota. Even the 100th highest paid person at the U of M makes $354,000 a year. Representative Marion Rarick, Republican of Maple Lake, raised the issue during a recent House Higher Education Finance and Policy Committee hearing. She found that more than 2,100 U of M employees, these would be in the administration, make six-figure salaries. Representative Rarick mentioned the 100th highest paid person at the U of M makes $354,000 a year. She shared that more than 2,100 people are paid more than the governor of Minnesota, who currently receives $127,629 a year. And for the fellow we have as governor, that's $126,722 too much. Yeah. I just got back data from the U of M. I had asked for their top 100 salaried people. So it's when you go from the top to the 100th person, they're still at $354,000 a year, said Rarick. I have data from a 2023 from a government transparency group, and they had asked for anybody who was paid more than the governor, which at that point was $128,000. And that list of people at the U of M is 2,169 people. Former legislator and current U.S. Senate candidate Melissa Lopez Franson received a salary of $250,000 when she served as the school's chief lobbyist in 2023. Now imagine that. Our tax money pays Melissa Lopez Franson $250,000 to lobby the legislature for more of our tax money.
Yeah, about that.
According to the public record media report referenced by Rarick, 329 people at the U of M earn at least $225,000. Wages like that don't need taxpayer funding. People have been commenting to Rarick. University administrators and professors are overpaid and underworked, said another commentator. One commentator said it's ridiculous. I don't know. I'm all for everybody making what they can. But boy, do I have to pay for a lot of the people who are making what they can. So she's looking into that. And then we also learned that Second Harvest Heartland is a legitimate food provider, correct?
Yes.
Are we all on the same page there?
They do good work.
For all we know, no fraud whatsoever.
Correct.
They actually feed people. Well, we're learning that the Second Harvest Heartland is defending its executive compensation, but some legislators are concerned by the out-of-control salaries at nonprofits requesting public dollars.
Yeah.
Minnesota's hunger crisis is growing. I can't imagine why that would be, and I'm not downplaying the fact that people could be hungry. I will do my part to prevent that. But I can't believe that. There are food programs everywhere you look. The schools are committed to feeding people. The fraud didn't help any because nobody got fed. Everybody just got ripped off.
Right.
Minnesota's hunger crisis is growing, and apparently so is the appetite for big executive pay. Allison O'Toole, CEO of Second Harvest Heartland, earned $721,000 in total compensation in 2022, even as the nonprofit lobbied for taxpayer funding and warned of rising hunger across Minnesota, where 26% of households with children are food insecure, according to the research of Second Harvest Heartland.
Huh. Yeah, fudge the numbers.
Now O'Toole is stepping down after 6 years.
And buying a condo
Representative
in Florida.
Pam Altendorf, a Republican from Red Wing, told Alpha News that O'Toole's salary issue first surfaced during a recent food day at the Capitol. when food shelf representatives, including O'Toole, testify before the House Children and Families Committee. Representative Bjorn Olson pulled the 990, a tax form, and shared Allison O'Toole's salary with our committee members right before she testified, Altendorf said. That's when the questions started. Marion Rarick, Republican Maple Lake, later raised the issue during a March 17 House committee hearing where a DFL lawmaker questioned why a GOP bill was reducing funding for Second Harvest Heartland in a proposed agriculture budget. It looks like the funding for Second Harvest Heartland is $3.4 million, and you've reduced it by $900,000 in both the first biennium and the tail, said Representative Zach Stevenson, DFL Coon Rapids. But Rarick said she thinks the organization can handle it. Of course they can. They do have $260 million. That's their gross revenue, she said. Wait a minute. Second Harvest Heartland has gross revenues of $260 million. I imagine that's not only taxpayer money, but that must be contributions.
Donations and things like
Donations from the public.
Yeah, they're high on the list on Give Minnesota. I'll find out what they made this year off of Give Minnesota.
What's even more interesting, I think, according to Rarick, is that their CEO, their top person, makes $721,000. Yeah, $721,000. And they have 10 people that make more than the governor, which is more than $150,000. So that's well over $2.6 million in their highest paid people. About a week after these figures were brought up at the committee hearing, Second Harvest announced O'Toole's resignation.
Is it Second Harvest Northland?
I don't know.
Okay.
Second Harvest Heartland,
Okay.
not Northland.
Okay.
Altendorf said days later Second Harvest lobbyists pulled both her and Rarick off the House floor for a private hallway meeting.
Oh, a little secret hush-hush deal.
Yeah, at the time, Altendorf's tweet, who's Altendorf?
Pam.
She's a Republican from Red Wing. So Altendorf pulled herself and Rarick off the floor for a private meeting. At the time, Altendorf's tweet highlighting O'Toole's salary had received more than 65,000 views. I reassured them that no one is questioning the need for food banks in Minnesota, Altendorf said. But now that this has been exposed, everyone is questioning why an organization that claims to be a nonprofit is paying its CEO nearly $1 million a year. This is incomprehensible to the average person who's living paycheck to paycheck. Records show Second Harvest brought in roughly $260 million in total revenue in 2022, with over $6 million coming from government grants. That's according to the American Experiment. And it's not just O'Toole earning well into six figures. Several executives at Second Harvest earn over $300,000 annually, with at least 7 staffers making between $140,000 and $280,000 a year, according to their tax records.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but $787,000 this year on Give Day Minnesota is what they raised.
And that was just one day of
It was
contributions.
one day of contributions.
Despite the salaries, Second Harvest Heartland maintains a strong presence at the Capitol, requesting public funding to address what it calls record-breaking demand for food assistance. Well, I suppose you can't demand more and more money if you don't also provide them the information that more and more people are hungry. And again, I find that hard to believe. I don't doubt that there are people struggling. I don't doubt that for a moment.
Certainly.
But do you know anyone suffering food insecurity?
I do know a family that relies on food banks, yes, but one out of,
Do you know anybody, John?
I do, yes, a couple families that go to food banks and basically rely on them too.
Do you, Kenny?
Yeah, I do.
Do you, Matt?
I don't personally, but I would imagine that
he
some
got
of
a twin in the car.
Right, I would imagine that some of my
Plus, there's
employees-
me. I'm very, very hungry, as you can tell.
How about some more beans?
Velveeta. Kenny wants the Velveeta food
Well,
bank.
let's wrap this up.
Do you know anybody?
I do not.
How do you sleep at night? That's my question. If people are going hungry and you're making, what did you say, 7 something?
721.
How the hell do you get to sleep? How can you look at yourself in the mirror?
I'm going to ask something more naive. First of all, let it be clear to all you euphorians who listen but are afraid to admit it. Yeah. I'm not suggesting anything fraudulent here, not in the least. O'Toole is making what apparently she's been getting away with, and that's not fraudulent. She's been making that money. So I'm going to ask something even more naive. If you dedicate your life to a field or a career where you have set out only to help people, the presumption might be made that you didn't set out to become wealthy. Is that a fair statement? Sure.
Yes.
You would think, yeah.
You would think that you weren't setting out to become wealthy. And God bless you. God bless you. You set out to be useful.